Thank you so much for holding on, staying tuned to the MCR Investment channel. And we want to look at develop lifestyle in critical moment. So what we will want to do, by the way, I'm Maxwell David Jolami, and I'm happy that you have gone through this session with me up to develop lifestyle. We will be looking at other sections, a demonstration of MCR principle and practices of maturity investigation using the MCR investigation. We're going to be picking Christian sermon sometime, or a movie, or a book. We are going to continue this series. And if you ask me why this series, I will say I really want to show you how to use the MCR investigation part. In future too, I hope to come up with another video or session where we shall look at the MCR investigation part as a tool for defining change. We want to actually know if there is a change, what is actually changing. So we are going to just do that in the future. But for today, let's go back to the MCR investigation part, which is actually where the action should take place. So usually this is what we do. We have to configure it, and we have done that. We've gone through this as default lifestyle. We want to find out if actually there's a complete or incomplete lifestyle. That's actually why this compromise score, maturity score is there. And then we'll go on to see whether we can have compromise score for natural lifestyle and compromise score for maturity score for natural lifestyle. And then we went through this. We want to look at for compromise score for acquiring lifestyle or life orientation lifestyle, and then maturity score for it. We want to look at for all of that. Now this is where we are. So we will have to go through the compromise score. So let's go through it. Let's look out for individuals with developed lifestyle. Definitely we will have to speculate here, because if we find an individual with developed lifestyle, the movie was just probably it was a draft. They wouldn't show us the whole lifestyle of individuals, so we have to speculate. But definitely if we pick like the king or whatever, or the preacher or pastor who converted Mr. Sunday's boss, we will definitely hope to have them they must belong to what do we call it, a maturity state. That is, they must really have come out of educational institution. They must really be readers. They must have consultants. The king definitely, like the Olo there, he definitely have the king by him. We're going to come back to him. The king, had a quest for somebody who really believed in God. So when we talk about God occupied a source entity in the life of the king. So we saw that literally. So we could take that. We could see maturity position. The maturity situation was what we had in the church. When the Lord went out to fetch a fellow. That's really whatever happened there in the church was a maturity situation. There wasn't any kind of contract. It was an informal way of fetching whoever there. And in fact, the ordeal Baba Tomino went for a while before the king opened up to him. Was more like a situational relationship. And then we have a conditional relationship. It was a conditional relationship. Conditional relationship was, especially with the king, was the title he holds, the official title he holds, the royal head. If anybody in his domain will stay there, he must play to his tune. And I believe he will equally have to answer to God if he believes in God. We could see Awalewa would have to answer to her father. That's a condition. And Baba Tomiwa too must really, prove himself that he's a Christian. So now that's one condition the king is offering him if he will marry his daughter. And like we said, Baba Tomiwa, he went through. Yeah, but definitely what we want to establish here is that there come a time in the life of the king or Olode or Awelewa or the pastor who converted boss Mr. Sunday's boss, there come a time where they engage in maturity therapy. Later on, we're going to explain that apart from personal maturity therapy, you could have teacher and source entity, you could have a community. We have a lot of discussion to do here. But definitely we've established that these things are present by speculation in the life of this individual. So we'll come back here. This is actually where we are. So we'll come back and look at right. Definitely there is right for Olode to walk, for the king to become king, for Awelewa to become the daughter of the king. There was a right, kind of contract for the Olode, for the king, a kind of contract, and for Awelewa, a kind of, admission, into the family at birth. Then we have ritual. Ritual is a kind of redress for Olode to become professional. He must have had to apologize for some of his errors in the past. So we could see that, and in fact, even the king may have to apologize. He wouldn't become king without error forever. In his previous relationship, for him to become king, we expect that there must be, some kind of error in his lifestyle, and he had to apologize or redress for it. Then, of course, for him to have conceived the kind of trapped game, definitely we expect the man should have, the king should have, the Lord there too should have a mental deposit, mental initiative, to have mental control for, the king did not open up. Maybe the Lord there wasn't told why the king was looking for a child of God, but while the king really went through, there was a form of self-control, even in the investigator, for instance. The investigator we saw that was employed by Mr. Sunday's boss, there was a form of self-control in him. He didn't really have sympathy for the man. He did his work without even exposing himself to Mr. Sunday or anybody. That's what we see, self-control in him. And then this is where we are. This is where the column we should go on. We saw a kind of for the king. Let's go on. For the king, we could really take him as traditionalist. We could take the king for traditionalist. And then the investigator that was employed as an extremist. We don't know who really proposed the idea of looking for a Christian for Awelewa. If the king proposed, then Awelewa will be professional, but growing. We couldn't see a lost entity. Who can we put for a lost entity? Well, in a sense, if the Olode and the investigator were not told why they're investigating Baba Tomiwa, Mr. Sunday, and why they were persecuting Baba Tomiwa, we could just put them as lost entity. That is really what we do when we speculate. You could be involved in a thing, but you're lost. You don't have a clue why you're asked to do it. Awelewa must have been informed by her that for you to have a peaceful reign as the future queen, you need a Christian, and she'll begin to consider that, there's a growing entity. The extremist was really someone who just went on doing things that, he really do not what, he just want to have. He has no idea why he's doing things the way he's doing. So that is that. Destiny manifestation, like we established, we said there are two forms of variables. What we mean is that destiny manifestation could be a privilege and it could be an obligation. But for professionals, people in this place, people with developed lifestyle, what we saw is that we saw that the king had a gift. The throne was a gift for him. It's not like he merited from birth. And if he married it from bad, it was a gift. Our the function the father gave her was a gift. And then so we could take that. We could take that. The function the king had to function as a king, and then the reward of being the king. There's this reward. Self satisfaction. Self fulfillment. They could say that is more like a reward. Even though Lord there, for instance, it was a gift for him to have that work. He has to function as a gift, and I believe for his function, the king will reward him. The investigator, for instance, was rewarded. Our other world will be rewarded with the right man. That's a reward. So that's really what we mean by destiny manifestation on the MCR investigation part. So we go on to look at the TTT, the self-esteem, and then here we want to look at who really succeed in the TTT of lie. If you look at the investigators, we could say really they were able to win the TTT of lie test, trial, and temptation. The law there, it was a test for him really. Go and see how you can do this work. It's a test. We saw in the king, in his daughter, the arrangement of God. They search for God first, in a man, and they search for immaterial in a man. That's what it means for them to have a Christian, one who believes in God, and then probably human, the material. We could see that in their life. And then of course the king was particularly interested in spiritual life, social life, and then spiritual life. He didn't really say, just give me a man who is sexually active, or all I know, she said she needed a spiritual person, someone who is sociable, and then before that is considered. And then can we really say the king knows what he's doing? This is where we are. Can we say the king really know what he's doing? We'll just take yes. Can we say understand? Yeah, definitely. Can we say he appreciates, what Mr. Babatomeo went through? Yes. Can we say he enjoyed the whole ordeal? Yeah, definitely. Can we say the king really see what was going on, in the village? Yeah, definitely. That's why he went for someone who is really genuine. Can we say he really live alive, especially the pastor who converted Mr. Sanders boss. Definitely. Can we say the pastor in part? Yeah, then that is really what we mean by what MCR investigation. We have gone to look at the developed lifestyle in the MCR. We've gone to look at the developed lifestyle in the developed lifestyle. I mean, we've taken the compromise call. We will come back and look at the law there. We've talked a bit about him, but I think he's the only person we may want to consider as a professional lifestyle. We may have to speculate for his lifestyle, but we will need to discuss so that we could add one or two things to what we know or how to use the MCR investigation part. I must really, really say I'm grateful for holding on to this. If you have any question, you can always leave it, for me at the comment bar, and then I will address it probably in the next series of MCR principles and practice, or a demonstration of MCR principles and practice of maturity investigation using the MCR investigation part that I will want to do. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe so that you could really see my next videos as I post them. Thank you.